But you told me if I swing you around, all my sins will be forgiven. Cozy GV, yo, welcome back to the channel, gang. I hope you're doing good. So the Somalis in Minnesota have decided to not go forward with a two-state solution after finding out the European settlers wanted to take 100 Somali women to teach them how to cook. Can you imagine the audacity? Now, granted, they don't know how to cook. They don't know how to use the spices they keep taking from everybody. But they want somebody to teach them how to make bris and hilib. Can you imagine that? They want to kick everyone out, but they want to learn how to make these fantastic traditional dishes. The audacity. Anyway, the people of Minnesota, the people of Minneapolis, the Twin Cities, they have all come together and said, you know what? The Somalis were promised this land. It's up to them if they want to give a two-state solution. And by their God-given right, they don't have to. And we don't need to. So yeah, that's the way it's looking. We gave you a chance, but you didn't want it. You wanted to take our women. Anyway, let's just get straight into it. I got a special video for you guys today. Look, I told you, special video today, guys. Proof. George Washington. He met Abdi.
How long have you been experiencing these thoughts?
All day, online, every time.
I see. This appears to be a severe case of community success intolerance. Treatment is simple. 2 sambusas a day and a daily visit to Cedar.
In Minneapolis, you notice them first by the glint of gold. Somali neighbors, passports patched to their foreheads, walking as if the wind itself welcomed them home. Unusual?
Peace be upon you, friends. I am Christopher Columbus. Come from
there you go.
The great ocean.
You travel
there
far,
you go.
stranger. Welcome
yes,
to our
brother.
Then we step ashore.
He has finally decided to come out of his shell and embrace fully the person he is. Because I personally had a feeling that this guy was a bit dodgy. But then after the release, you know the release I'm talking about. After that release and we all find out that he gave the Glock 6000 to the Baba. Now it makes perfect sense. He has left the White House and the rightful people have now taken over the White House. Stay tuned. I got some nice videos for you today. ايوه شكرا. There you go.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Beautiful
This
day
is the new president.
Today, a new chapter begins. This house belongs to the people, and the people look like all of us. We will lead with courage.
Dirbiga qeylanayo, dirbiga oonayo. You had to go kiss the dirbiga oonayo. Warya shumi warya dirbiga. Shumi warya. Oi. Oi abahal cuna. Oi. شمي علم كوريا أبهال يسنجيد الله خيني shit fucking shit.
Somalis are born navigators, guiding themselves across land with pure instinct.
Let them know.
With memory alone, they read the desert, wind, stars, even the shape of the sand.
Ask a Somali for directions. They'll guide you anywhere.
No.
Getting lost? Impossible.
Some members of Minnesota's Muslim community say
an ordinance allowing a daily broadcast of the Islamic call to prayer to be broadcast 5 times a day, starting at dawn.
Noise ordinance just passed today in Minneapolis.
Honestly, yeah, what is the difference between this community here, yeah, and the community in Brooklyn who have the fishing, you know, the fishing line that has the fishing line all across the city just so they can trick, you know who I'm talking about, the copycats. The copycats! We are the chosen! The copycats! Yes, I'm talking about them. What do? They have this whole fishing line all around the city just so they can trick God. Can you imagine? But we don't need to. We call out to God while they are tricking God. We are the chosen people.
If I am not on this committee for one term, my voice will get louder and stronger.
Trump called the Somali people garbage? Call me old-fashioned, but what happened to subtle racism? You know, the good old days of dog whistling. Trump said, their country's no good, their country stinks, and I disagree. I think Minneapolis is awesome, okay? Trump's just sitting there, he'd be like, all these Somali complaining all day, not doing their job. I don't want to work right now. They just complain, they're not doing their job. I don't know more questions. They're not doing their job. They just complain. It's like, what are you doing right now, motherfucker? You're complaining and not doing your job. The majority of the Somali immigrants came here because there was a horrible civil war going on that the CIA claims it didn't start, right? They were funding warlords to overthrow the government and stir up more chaos than there already was, which led there to be more people who needed to leave. And so the United States government said, fine, we'll take you in. We don't want anything in return. Yeah, right, okay? Because whenever we take in refugees from other countries, we always get something in return. And so what do you have now? You have military bases in Somalia. There are now 500 to 700 American troops in Somalia. Why would you be there if it's a garbage country? No, it's because you want a foothold of imperialism in Africa. Somalia is gold to you. And you're telling us there's nothing in Somalia? That's garbage. Okay? Don't call people from Minneapolis garbage. That is offensive. We all know Minneapolis recycles and composts as well, okay? We sort our waste. So sort your thoughts before you open your f***ing mouth. And now you got people all across the internet saying, what do Somali Americans do for America? It's like, have you heard of Somali food? It's some of the best food you'll ever have. And guess what? It's better than Denny's. What do Somali people do? They're in Congress, bruh. They're in Congress. They work jobs all across America, but mostly in Minneapolis, okay? What do the Somali people do? How about an entire people moving from a country with average temperature 90 to a city with average temperature negative 1,000? That is the highest accomplishment of human adaptation we've ever seen. The Somalis, say what you will, they have thick skin, okay? They have thick skin, so bring it, because guess what? They're already prepared for ice.
So when Somalia does this, they call it piracy. They're stealing an oil tanker. But see, when America does it, we're actually taking this oil from terrorists. Now it's our oil. We just blame terrorists. We can take whatever we want, and it's not piracy.
Morons like Ben Shapiro and Matt Walsh will tell you till they're blue in the face that Africa is poor because of cultural reasons, or because they're just not as smart as us Westerners with our free political system and white skin. But this can be debunked by just looking at what's going on in Burkina Faso. Before they had a revolution, all of their mines were owned by French companies, and those companies paid them only $1 billion a year for that access. But now that they've taken control of their own gold mines, for example, they've extracted over $18 billion in resources. And they've reinvested it in all of these amazing things, like housing programs, new infrastructure, new schools, all sorts of things that benefit their people and make their country stronger and more intelligent. So this is what African countries are capable of when they're free from Western colonialism, which is the obvious factor that these idiots always ignore. I really think Africa would be so poor today if the U.S. didn't murder their brilliant and upstanding leaders like Patrice Lumumba and Thomas Sankara, people who were literally spearheading massive projects for economic development. Poverty in Africa has nothing to do with inferior people or bad ideas. It has everything to do with the pillage of the continent by Western powers. And when Africa frees themselves from that, they will possibly be the most advanced and prosperous continent on the face of the earth. And all of this race IQ science will look as stupid as it always has been.
Where's that same energy for these people? Where's the same energy for these copycats? For the copycats. Look, you can read it yourself. Look. And this one stuck out to me the most. 25th of October. You see that? 2022. So they've been doing it for a while. And they taking it from school kids, feeding, where was that? Yeah, there you go. Funds meant to feed needy children, right there. But because they are copycats, they get a free pass. They don't get all of the attention like the chosen people get. And this ain't just 2 stories. This one is in New Jersey. This one is in New York. There's plenty of other stories. There's one that happened in Florida, Orlando. These people are parasites. Parasites. Oh, mini Somalia.
Somalia.
They're so obsessed. Wallahi, they're so obsessed.
Somali is Somalia. Somalia.
Somali.
Somalians.
Somali.
Somali.
Tell them. Ordinary. Oh, shake out behind on it. Oh, shake that cup. Or oh, shake. It's not ordinary. Oh, shake that cup. Or me, ordinary. It's not ordinary. Look at this land, bro. Look at this. Look at this. This is just pure qurah right here. Look at that. Inna ba'adi ma'aha.
Welcome to Somalia.
Oh, man. Subwan, is that AI? Did they trick me on that one? Inna ba'adi ma'aha.
Did you know that Somalia stopped the Mongols from invading Africa during the 13th century? The Mongols were known for their military prowess and conquests, having already conquered vast territories in Asia and Europe. Their next target was Africa. When the Mongols eventually turned their attention to Africa the second time, they were confronted by Somali warriors who knew how to fight. The Mongols were unable to make any significant gains in the region, and their campaign was ultimately a failure. The role that Somalia played in stopping the Mongols from invading Africa cannot be overstated. The strategic location of the Horn of Africa and the strength of the Somali people played a crucial role in preventing the Mongols from expanding their empire even further. Somalia, a nation with a rich history and a spirit of resilience, faced the challenges of colonialism with remarkable courage. The Somali people, known for their bravery and determination, successfully resisted external domination, leaving a legacy of resistance that is documented in various books. Today, Somalia continues to be an important player in the region, working to promote stability and security while also promoting economic development and cultural exchange. The Somalia that resisted the Mongol invasion lives on, serving as a reminder of the power of resilience, determination, and unity.
Why do you say Europeans never created a civilization?
They have never.
Show me one. That's the only question I'm saying. Show me a European civilization. Rome was not a civilization. Greece was not a civilization. You don't know a day in the history of Greece where there wasn't a war. You don't know a day in the history of Rome when there wasn't a war. Those are not civilization. Those are death culture, war culture. They're not building anything. They're stealing from other people, borrowing from other people, and still carrying on this anti-human, anti-nature behavior of murdering, stealing to conquer and appropriate something that belonged to someone else that you could have gotten by just shaking their hands and making a deal.
Why are white people so intimidated and threatened by black men, despite their claims that black men are inferior to them and incapable of the most basic tasks?
Well, there's an easy answer to that question. They know black men are superior to them. Put us on any playing field, be it physics or football, and we will win. Give us the same opportunities, and we will win. Because we come from a history of not trying to destroy and dominate the world, and you come from a history of trying to destroy and dominate the world. And that has become the culture of the white community.
In Somalia.
In my last video, I mentioned about Somalia being 6th on the world reserve of having the most oil. I was using the information that I was using. It was from this actual clip that I saw a few years ago. I found the clip, and I want you to listen to yourself. Let's go.
The real goal was, of course, to make Somalia safe for the oil corporations. I should have mentioned that in the talk here. The mainstream media have totally ignored the story about oil in Somalia. There was one remarkable article, January 18, 1993, in the LA Times, which said that 3/4 of Somalia had been conceded by the former ruler to 4 major American oil companies, Conoco, Amoco, Phillips, whatever. They strongly believe that there are major oil deposits in Somalia. George Bush, when he was vice president in '86, went around in Yemen and other places saying that that whole region, the whole Cape, the Horn of Africa, was very rich in oil, and they thought Somalia had really a lot of it. This explains his strange behavior as President of the United States to suddenly send troops into Somalia out of the conviction that he wanted to feed the Somalians. There are about 12 nations in Africa that have had drought and famine for over a decade. He hasn't done a thing. He hasn't done a single thing for any of them. So why now is he suddenly so moved that he actually sent troops? And how do you feed people with troops? Why do you need troops? In fact, the drought and the famine in Somalia was alleviating. They'd had a good crop that year. That's the other irony, not irony, but hypocrisy of it. Well, once the troops were sent, there wasn't a single U.S. official or corporate executive who ever once again mentioned oil. The word was dropped. Didn't tell anybody. And that explains why Clinton is so reluctant to leave.
I think I'd like to
not only that, that same year, January, that same year, they put the arms embargo, George W. Bush, through the UN security. They put an arms embargo on Somalia. And literally the year after, 1993, was when the Battle of Mogadishu happened. So you put the Somalis in arms embargo, and they tried to take their oil, and then this Marine right here was there. So if this part is for all the far rights out here, all the far rights. Don't listen to me. Listen to your fellow brethren.
Anybody who's seeing this or hearing this is in Panama, guys are locking themselves in their handcuffs and turning themselves over to us. In Desert Storm, they're surrendering by the hundreds of thousands. But when we arrived in Somalia, the day that we arrived, we come under gunfire. We come under artillery fire or indirect fire from mortars and artillery. And that gunfire, that artillery and rocket fire, it never really let up the whole time that we were there.
Good.
So all of the men from my squad, I'm a Ranger squad leader at this point, and I've got about 10 men that I'm responsible for. None of them have been to combat. I'm one of those old timers now at 24 years old with a lot of combat experience. And the day that we arrived there, I let my soldiers know, unlike what we experienced in Kuwait or in Panama, these guys are willing to fight, and it looks like these guys are willing to die for what they believe in. So they became a pretty lethal force. Like, I really got to give credit to these Somali gunmen for the courage that they had. And that was the entire time that we were there. There really wasn't a night that we didn't come under some kind of enemy attack the entire time that we were there. So by the time we get to October 3rd, and we're going into the very heart of the ID'd part of town, this is like kicking a hornet's nest, and you know it's going to be bad. We just didn't know how bad is it going to be. And our intelligence was pretty good, but there's no way to determine how many bad guys are in there. Could be 200, could be 2,000, could be 20,000.
He said bad guys.
Get in there, you'll quickly figure it out. And what we figured out is there were a whole lot more.
You're the fucking bad guy, you waste man.
So taking Blackburn back to the base, I was already under gunfire whenever I went to get to Blackburn and place them on Humvees and start to take them back to the base. I came through what is to this day the most intense gunfight that I've ever been in. On a city street that's probably less than 20 meters wide, I came under gunfire from 100 directions at once.
Good.
And most of that gunfire was from point blank range.
Good. Fucking look at them. These are the real men. You're fighting against these men. Men who don't give a fuck about your propaganda. Imagine getting paper slapped out of your hand and you can't do shit. But you know who's my favorite part? You know who's my favorite part of this part? Watch the little kid. Getting chased by 12-year-olds. Look, running for their lives.
You said you're going to take care of General ID. You're going to take care of those little knick-knocks in Africa. And then we saw the Americans running, trying to get out after you saw some of your soldiers dragged behind the Jeep. Oh, we'll drag you behind the Jeep.
They ain't got shit on us. Seriously, bro. Don't threaten me with a good time, man. I'll go back home and enjoy myself, mate. I just don't want to see you there. Look at them, pussy. فلي قاعد نعلى قشابيرك مطر ندي وفت بوي إنقذ المترسان شيخ. Tell them, bro. Tell them, bro. Tell him. I just want to let you guys know something. Over the last 2 years, what's been happening? Yeah? Bingo. So over the last 2 years, that's been happening, right? And what has the hero of the Red Seas been doing? Bingo. Now, why do you think America wasn't able to attack the heroes from Djibouti? Now, we all know Djibouti has military bases upon military bases. But one thing most people don't know, or you might know, but one thing that most people may or may not know is that Djibouti, when signing these military agreements, these bases and whatnot, yeah, they put it in their contract that these countries who are using these bases are not allowed to attack anyone in the region, including Yemen. If you go read the Project 2025, whatever the fuck it's called, yeah, if you actually go read it, if you go to the section on Africa, Djibouti is mentioned. And the reason why Djibouti is mentioned is simply because of that fact that Djibouti won't allow America to attack other countries in the region from its base. And is actually in the documents that they're having a deteriorating relationship, and they are trying to consider recognizing Somaliland as an independent nation. This is the whole reason why this whole rhetoric about Somalis is happening. You demonize Somali people to the point here where you tell them Somalis are hooligans, they're savages, we can't work with them, we have to work with Somaliland. The moment that happens, Somaliland is going to end up becoming a puppy state for the US. They are going to put all of their bases, as much as they want, on the land, and they're going to start attacking all our brothers and sisters in the region. This is the reason why they are talking all of this shit about Somalis. If you don't believe me, go do your research, and you'll realize what I'm talking about makes a lot of sense. But it's fine. It's fine. Somalia, up until the 60s, they were fighting for their independence. The moment they got their independence, within a short period of time, they end up becoming the biggest air force, the strongest air force in the continent. They had one, not even the one. They had the strongest air force in the continent, full stop. And then, you know what happened to Somalia. They came in 1993, expecting that they were going to take over these people who recently just got their independence. So they thought these Somalis, they're not going to do nothing. They're not capable of anything. This is a new state. This is a new country who just got their independence recently. But little did they know, Somalia has always been Somalia, bruv. Before the independence, after that, doesn't matter, bruv. Somalia has been Somalia. The people has always been the same. I'm glad that the Somalis are people to not fuck about with. And I swear to you, if I lived 100 lifetimes, yeah, each time I would come back as a Somali. Simple as that. They can say whatever they want. They can do whatever they want. End of the day, honest and genuine people know all we want, all what everyone wants, is just to live a simple life in peace and harmony, tranquility, no headache. Come on, baby. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, that's the end of the video. I tried to make this one less talk and more action. I wanted the video to speak for itself, to be honest, today. But I'm working on something very special for you guys. And I'm going to be dropping that video hopefully in 2 days' time. If you're new here, welcome to the channel. And I'll catch you on the next one. Hasta luego, man.
Somalia is one of the most beautiful countries in East Africa. Only somebody who's been there would know. Because I also only found out very recently. I'm Somali, yes, but I was not born in Somalia, and I was not raised there. I went there at a later age to discover my own home. A home that I thought was completely different, because in the media, the Somalia I saw was suffering from drought. The Somalia I saw was suffering from famine. The Somalia I saw was suffering from civil wars. So like you, in my imagination, I thought that Somalia must be a terrible place to live in. To my surprise, that's not the truth.
We the new explorers, like Columbus on a trip. A Somali edition, Minneapolis we flip. Ice can't stop us, Trump can't block us. From Cedar Riverside to Lake Street, yeah, we run the process. Gangsta motion, Somali devotion. Cold Minnesota, but we move like the ocean. Try to push us out, nah, bro, impossible.